Alright guys, we're going to be looking at some examples under the addition and the subtraction of vectors. And the first example here says that if ABC is a triangle, what is the sum of the vectors represented by BC, CA, and AB? So since it is said that ABC is a triangle, so it means let's quickly produce triangle ABC. Let's say I have triangle ABC as this. This is A, and this is side, that is B, and this is C. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to, represent each side with a value. Let me represent my A to C as, let me represent AB as A, then BC as B. So automatically, from our knowledge of vector addition, if I want to move from A to C, so automatically it is same thing as me moving from A to B, then from B to C. So AC is the same thing as saying I'm moving from A to B, then from B to C. And that's AB is A, then BC is B, that's A plus B. So we've already established that in our previous class. Now we are to add up BC plus CA rather, then plus AB. So we are to add up BC plus CA, then plus AB. So this is what we are to add up together, and the result is what we are going to be presenting. Now we have BC. Our BC is same thing as B. That is when we are moving from B to C. So we know that our BC is the same thing as B. And likewise, we know what our AB is. Our AB is represented as A. Also, AB is represented as A. Now the question is, what is CA? We only know what AC is. If A to C is A plus B, because it's same thing as moving from A to B and then from B to C. So if AC is A plus B, it means CA is moving in the opposite direction. This time around we are moving from C to A, not from A to C. So moving from C to A is going to be the negative value of moving from A to C, and that shows that we are moving in the opposite direction. So CA is definitely going to be negative A plus B. So all we just need to do now is add BC plus AB plus CA together, and let us quickly get the result. Hence, BC plus CA, then plus AB plus AB plus AB is going to be written as BC is B plus CA is negative A plus B as minus A plus B. So and minus A plus B is going to be minus times plus is going to be negative. That's negative A, then minus what? Minus B. So let's quickly represent it as that. We have minus A and minus B. That's our CA. Then plus AB, and AB is A. So plus A. Let's quickly remove the bracket and see what the answer is definitely going to be. So we have B minus A plus times minus is minus b again, then plus a. So we have b minus b is 0. Then we also have minus a plus a is also 0. Therefore, the result bc plus ca plus ab, that is the sum of these three, equal to 0, which is the correct and perfect answer. Now let's quickly move and talk about the second example. And it says that if the vectors a, b are represented by the sides AB and AC of a triangle ABC, what vectors are represented by 1. BC, 2. CB, and 3. AD, where D is the midpoint of BC. Now, to quickly do this, the first thing we need to do is draw the triangle ABC as stated in the question. Let me quickly draw the triangle ABC. I'm going to just sketch. So this is triangle ABC. So let me put A here, then we have B here, then we have C here. And we are told that D is the midpoint of BC. So let's say this is the midpoint of BC. Let us represent it as D. So let me join A to D. Now from the question, said A represents the side AB. So the side AB, so it's A. But we need to look at the direction A to B. It means this is how the direction goes. Then B represents the side AC. We need to also look at the direction. And what's the direction? Direction is like this. That is from A to C. And it's represented as B. Now from this we can begin to answer all the questions. So the first question says we should find the vector that is represented by BC. 1. BC is the same thing as moving from B to A, then A to C. So in order for me to move from B to C, another way I can do that is first of all move from B to A, then from A to C. So the same thing as moving from B directly to C. So BC is BA, then plus AC. And don't forget that AB is given as A, while AC is given as B. So we have AB to be given as A. But this time around we are having BA. BA. So what is BA going to be? So this time around we are giving BA. Therefore, BA is going to be the negative A. Why? Because it is moving in the opposite direction. So AB and BA, they are opposite, but they have the same value. So if AB is A, then BA will automatically be minus A. So let us quickly represent this into what we have under question 1. So therefore I can say BC is BA is negative A minus A plus AC is already given to me as B, then plus B. So which is same thing as B minus A. Therefore, vector BC is represented as B minus A, or minus A plus B. Now the second question says we should represent the vector CB, that is moving from C to B. We don't need to stress ourselves too much over this. If BC is B minus A, then CB is going to be the negative of BC. Why? Because it is just in the opposite direction. For BC, I am moving like this. Then from CB, I'm moving in the opposite direction. So they have the same value, but different directions. So my CB is negative BC, which is going to be negative B minus A, because my BC is B minus A. Definitely, my CB will be negative B minus A, that is minus into bracket B minus A. Now, removing the bracket, I'm going to be having CB to be equal to minus B plus A, which could be written as A minus B. So we have talked about BC, and at the same time we are talking about CB now. So what is left for us is to represent the vector AD. So let me quickly represent the diagram here so that we are going to be using it as reference. So we have triangle A, B, and C. YD is the midpoint between B and C. So we have the diagram like this. AB is represented as A, while AC is represented as B. Let me put the direction there. A to C, A to B. So the direction is there. So D is the midpoint between B and C. So which means BD is the same thing as DC. Now the third question is that we should represent AD. We should represent AD, that is from A at the top, at the altitude, to D. So we are moving from A to D. Now I can, from our triangle law of vector addition, moving from A to D is the same thing as moving from A to B, that is like this. Then from B to D, it's the same thing. So instead of me moving directly from A to B, A to D rather, I can move from A to B, then from B to D. Or I can do moving from A to C, then from C to D, like this. So I can choose to use any of the two, but I want to use the one of the movement of AB, then D, then BD. So it's the same thing as moving from AB, then from B to D, then from B to D. And we already know what our AB is. Our AB is already given to us as A. And we know what our BC is. BC is B minus A, according to what we have here, the first question given to us. Our BC is B minus A. So since D is the midpoint between B and C, it means BD is definitely going to be half of what? Of B to C. So since our BC is B minus A, then BD is definitely going to be half of BC, and which is half of B minus A. That's what our BD is, half of B minus A, as we have here, half of B minus A. So we can just represent this into what we have here. So we have AD equal to AB, and AB is A, plus BD, and our BD is half into bracket B minus A, half into bracket B minus A. So let's quickly expand this. It's going to be A plus half B, then minus half A. So A minus half A is definitely going to give me half A. So we'll be having half A, then plus half B, because A minus half A is half A, then plus half B. So 1 over 2 is common. So our AD is half into bracket A plus B. And that's the answer. As you can see, using addition of vectors, addition and subtraction of vectors together, we can get to, simplify as many problems as possible. So using addition and subtraction of vectors, we're able to represent BC, able to represent CB, and lastly, we're able to represent AD.